Sounds good, Tony.
Okay, right. Okay, so basically backlinks. Well, this is going to be the sort of basics that we cover for the next 3 Sunday night webinars, and also we will do abbreviated versions of those every Friday night when we're doing these hangouts. And what we're going to cover is just the very, very basic backlinks 101, and we're going to talk about first tier backlinking, second tier backlinking, and getting backlinks to your second tier as well, which is basically your backlinks. Okay, so your first tier will be something like maybe doing some YouTube videos, it might be some press releases, it might be Web 2.0 blog posts, it could be a multitude of different things, and we'll cover what some of them can be in just a second. The second tier after that is going to be backlinking those particular pieces of content that you created, okay? And then backlinking your backlinks is going to be backlinking your second tier, okay? So we've got your main piece of content, then we create a first tier links around it, which could be 5 or 6 different Web 2.0 properties, maybe some YouTube videos as well, maybe YouTube videos inside those properties, which would be more effective. And then we'll have a second tier, which can be things like articles, wiki links, etc. And then we're going to backlink those as well. And that way we've got sort of link just flowing all the way through. And what's really, really important here is that the first tier is very, very good quality content. The second tier can be a little bit less quality as far as using things like wiki links. I actually don't think too highly of wiki links and things like that. I do know that other people like to put them in the first tier. I don't particularly like them too much. I think I can see the value in them, but they're better being kept away as far away from your main content as possible, because they're very, very easy and fast to do, and you don't want to get any negative SEO from it as well, which can easily happen. You can easily over-optimize because of the ease of getting these things created, okay? And backlinking your backlinks, well, that could be using services like lindex.com or Linklicious, those kind of services where you just put in a whole bunch of URLs and they will get backlinked as well using those particular services, okay? A lot of people skip this, and I would suggest that you don't skip it, but you've got to be aware that there is a monthly cost for using those kind of services, but it is by far the easiest way to achieve that particular scenario. Okay, so let me just open up my PowerPoint so I can change the slide here. Okay, so first tier backlinks, some examples. Well, we were talking about video sharing sites. That can be places like Vimeo, Dailymotion, Blip TV, what's the other one? Veo, and there's another one, Cafe something. Those kind of sharing sites, those are very, very good. So you can actually put the same piece of content in one video around those different sharing sites, and you've got a benefit of only having created one piece of content, but you do need to change your titles a little bit in each one and change your descriptions a little bit in each one. But it's a very, very good way to do it, because these sites have an audience themselves, and also they have got high page rank as well. They're very, very easy to use as well, and we do have a tool that does that within Commando HQ. Okay, Web 2.0 sites, those are places like Blogger, like Tumblr, even WordPress you can do as well. I'm not talking about your own self-hosting, I'm talking about the free version of WordPress, and there's a whole bunch of these kind of sites like Zimbio, etc., and those can be used as well. Okay, now the easiest way to do this is to do it automatically. Okay, and you can do it automatically in 2 ways. So if, for example, we're doing it via Hangout, we want to have an IFTTT recipe set up for any new video posted will get posted to all these Web 2.0 sites within IFTTT, and there's a whole bunch of them now. I've done lots of different videos on that, and it's better to use either one of 2 strategies that we have done. One is called the blog network strategy, which is just straight syndication, and you set this up one time and it's set and forget. Okay, one time, set and forget. Every time you upload a video, it gets distributed, and it gets distributed to the same accounts on these Web 2.0 sites. Therefore, you're building a Web 2.0 blog network, okay? And that way, you're building quality content in there all the time, all the time, all the time. The negatives about it is that it's posting the video with the title, with the description, exactly the same as what is in YouTube. So as soon as you upload your video, within 15 minutes, IFTTT will come and do a data run, and then that will take that information and will post it to these other sites. but it's the exact same content, it's the exact same title, exact same description, and that is the only sort of negative about it. So it might be worth going back into those particular properties, and then from there, what you can do is just change some things, add some images, maybe just change a headline, put some compelling headlines in there, etc. And from there, you're able to make it a little bit more unique content. Although it's not a major deal, it's just instant backlinking with one-time setting together. That's why I particularly like using that strategy. Okay. Another way you can do it is via images. We can use image sites, and you can use sites like Flickr, like Pinterest, etc. And very, very easy to get your content syndicated around those particular sites as well. Okay. So underneath every YouTube video, for example, you will see a little sharing button underneath the videos, and if you click to share, you will see there's a lot of icons for Web 2.0 properties and image sharing sites like Pinterest, and it's one click from there to be able to get that content syndicated over there. Okay, and we do have a free tool at commandotubetools.com called Tube Social Commando, and that one will submit your complete YouTube channel content if you want, and you can do it in a time delay to 4 different social sites. And I think we've got Stumble, Blogger, I can't remember the other 2. I think it might be Reddit, and I can't remember the other one. I think Pinterest, yeah. And if you set them up properly, you can also have them auto-post to Facebook and to Google Plus as well, which is a little bonus there. But it's a great way for getting all of your channel content syndicated to these sites as well, just in one click. It's very, very simple to use once you set your account up, and it's only one account for each site. Okay. Other ways that we can get first-tier backlinks, well, RSS directories is an obvious way. We can also use things like OnlyWire as well. So if you set up a video RSS feed for your channel, not the channel RSS feed, do the video RSS feed, it works better for some reason, then you can have that posted to 27 RSS directories via the Commando Tube Tools site. Or if you want to put it, you should do that anyway, and you can have that feed in onlywire.com, so that every time you do create a new piece of content using the video's RSS feed, that content will get syndicated through onlywire.com, and that gives you an extra approximately 50 social links if you got it set up properly. Okay, and that one costs, I think, $12.99 for a month, but once you've taken the monthly option, you can go into your account in onlywire.com, and you can upgrade to $49 per year option, which gets rid of the monthly, and it's much, much better value, much, much less cost. Okay. The other ways we can do it, social bookmarks. This is still a very, very relevant way to do first-tier backlinks, in my opinion. Okay, where you're backlinking your original piece of content, whether it's a WordPress blog post, whether it's a video, you can get that bookmarked immediately. Easiest way to do it is through onlywire.com, but there are other ways to do it as well. And probably the simplest way to do that is to find someone on Fiverr.com who will do what they call manual posting. And you're not looking for huge amounts and big numbers. What you're looking for, somebody that will do manual posting, and he will do, maybe maximum 20, but he's doing it manually, and it might take him 3 days to do that. That particular gig, as they call it on Fiverr. That way you're getting quality backlinks back, and you're not getting sort of automated backlinks, which is always better, because you can give this guy different versions of the actual text that he needs to submit to these particular sites. Okay, pardon me. Another example, articles. Okay, now, I'm not talking about design articles. I'm not talking about spinning articles at this point. What you want is quality articles, and you want these being done via things like guest posting. Now, guest posting is very, very underrated. A lot of people don't do it. I don't know why they don't do it. It's very, very easy to do, and it's very, very easy to find places to put down your articles as well. Now, there's some websites that focus just on guest posting, and you've got memberships. I think it's called myblogguest.com or myguestblog.com. That one is actually very, very good, where you can submit an article, and someone with these different people with blogs will come and say, yeah, I want to publish this article, and you can choose which one you want to put it in. The caveat there is that they want any text article to go to one site only, yeah, and that kind of makes it a little bit limited. and you have to then choose which one is the best fit. And when I'm talking about the best fit, you want to know what sort of traffic he gets on his blog or her blog, and you want to know what sort of high page rank they've got. You want to know how interactive are people in the comment section after the blog posts are done as well, which you can easily go and check. You can use tools to tell you what their traffic is like. You can check on Alexa, you can have a look on the blog itself, you can look at the amount of social shares using the social metrics Chrome extension that I showed in last week's Hangout, and you can figure it out from there. But the way I found to get around that for doing just one blog is to offer video. Okay, now on that particular site, they will offer for people with infographics to be able to put that on multiple sites. So I contacted them. This is I think about 2 years ago, 3 years ago perhaps. I said to them, well, video is surely the same thing as an infographic. It's sort of multimedia content or sort of media content rather than just text. Surely that video is allowed to go into more than one blog, and she agreed with me. And I think we got it onto, I can't remember, it was 3. I'm pretty sure it was 3. Could have been 5, but I'm pretty sure it was 3 blogs I was managed to put my video on there for. And what I did is I just did a step-by-step underneath the video. And I took some of the information from the YouTube description, which I changed up slightly for each person that had the blog. And I drove something like 10,000 visitors to my site in a 1 week period. But I hadn't set up properly. And what I did, I was kind of taken aback. I did not expect to get so much traffic from it. And I was kind of taken aback, and I wasn't prepared. I didn't have any lead capture page there. I wasn't giving anything away for free, like I would do today if I was to do it. Maybe I was a little bit naive or a little bit green behind the ears as a product creator at that point. But if I had done that, I would guarantee that I would have got, more than 1,000 opt-ins for sure. Of people who are very, very interested in the kind of content that I do, and therefore would be interested in the kind of tools that I do. And so you can see there is really major advantage in using something like guest posting, even though it's taken an extra step. It's a little bit more preparation, but at the end of the day, it's going to be better value than buying links on Fiverr than using automation tools if you're not sure how to use them properly. And it's going to save you from buying backlinks, which a lot of people are still doing these days. And it's just a very, very quick and easy way to get some traffic onto your content, and highly targeted traffic at that as well. Now, I've just noticed that I haven't included press releases here. We'll talk about that in just a second. The other places where we can get the first tier backlinks is blogs. Now, what I'm talking about there could be your own blogs. You could be doing your own sort of Class C blog networks, or you could be using memberships with Class C blogs. Blog networks. It does work. It can be very, very effective, but it's very, very expensive, because these are very, very expensive for these guys to maintain, and so you're not going to find them very, very cheaply at all. They are going to cost you. I would think about minimum $50 a month. If anybody listening to this knows a lower cost one, then please let us know. But I would go and check into it. Anything at a lower cost than that, because it is a very, very expensive thing to set up and to maintain, but if done properly, it can be highly effective. Certainly can be very, very effective, and so the better ones, the more reputable ones, are better to use. Okay, so let's talk about press releases. I want to pull you in here, Robert, and get some feedback from you. Okay. When you do a press release, you're using Newswire.net. Can you talk about the benefits of Newswire when you're using it? Can you give some examples?
Well, one of the primary benefits is that it is a high PR site, and the minute a press release is published, it shows up on Google News almost immediately. And done in conjunction with Hangouts, especially, is very effective in getting the Hangout to rank higher. Besides, the Hangouts are also being a powerful thing and ranking almost immediately. But the combination of the two is just a synergistic effect that can't be beat. And along with all the other backlinking strategies that you've been discussing, especially the social sharing, I can take over half a page I've seen with some of my primary keywords.
Yeah.
with the social sites, the Newswire press release, the Hangout. It just pushes everybody else out of the way. And almost all my keywords I'm on the first page for in Google, and everyone in YouTube is pretty much page 1 and top of the page, ranking number 1.
Yeah, and one thing I want to mention about when you're saying taking over half the page, no, I did see a conversation somewhere recently. I think it might have been on a forum or in underneath someone's blog post, maybe on one of the geeks had done a blog post, and there was some discussion in the comments or something. When I say the geeks, I'm talking about the people who do these big, long, sort of, what do you call them? White paper kind of report type of blog posts. They're really long, and they must take them a week and a half to prepare and stuff like that. I've got this little nickname for them. I call them the geeks. So if I ever mention that in future, I actually know what I'm talking about. Well, anyway, I saw this discussion about the relevancy of some of these different pieces of content that might be coming from a press release. It might be coming from a Web 2.0 blog. It might be coming from a wiki link or whatever. You know, the thing is, guys, that if you're taking over page 1, it's your content and you're pushing your competitors away. Okay, that is how you structure these first tier and second tier links. That is very, very important, because it should always be flowing through to your main piece of content. That should be ranking highest. And the way you've got to make sure that that happens is that you don't over-optimize, or you don't optimize, you know, too much more than what you have done your main piece of content. So I've got a new tool coming out, which I'm just going to give you a very, very brief example of here. And let me know if you can see this particular tool I've got open here. Can you see my screen, or is it still showing the PowerPoint?
We still see the PowerPoint, Tony.
Okay, let me just see if I can switch this over. I haven't got this on sale right now, but it might give you an idea. No, I'm not seeing the option to put that there. I'm just not seeing the option to put that there. Okay, I can't show it right now. We'll have to do that in a different kind of video. But what I've got is a little tool that does first tier link wheels and first tier silos, if you like, using YouTube channels. But what I've said in the tutorial videos that I was doing last night was, don't put too big a description in there, because you might end up optimizing your main piece of content, and you don't want that to happen. So basically just putting a link in there to get more information, and you want to put links into the comments as well. And by doing that, you're creating silos as well as link wheels at the same time, and that way your link is flowing through to the content in the correct way, that you're not going to over-optimize and end up ranking higher with that piece of content. But the main point was that the more of page 1 that you control, then you're pushing your competitors out the way. Okay, and if you structure it properly, it's going to have information about that main piece of content that you really, really need.
Okay, it seems like we're back on again. Sorry, something happened. A malfunction with Google, I think. Anyway, we're back.
Can you see the screen?
I can see the screen.
Right, okay. So it's saying take me there or end the other call. So I guess I should just click on take me there and see what happens then. Okay. Okay. So we're back. Okay, so we covered the first tier backlinks, and we were talking about the press releases. Now, when you're doing these press releases, can you give me an idea, can you give people an idea who might be listening, how much traffic you're sending, how many views these press releases are getting?
Quickly, I sometimes get as many as 5,000 views in a day, which was what happened with last week's press release. Just
wow.
Suddenly 5,000 views, and then it carries on from there. I'll get several hundred views a day, and on some of my older press releases, I've been getting views for several months now, up to several hundred a day.
That's very, very good. Now, what do you do from that point? What mechanisms do you put in place to convert that traffic?
I submit my press releases to OnlyWire and to Social Adder, Google+, Tumblr, Blogger. What is the other one? I think WordPress.com. And I haven't added any wiki links because I've been a little bit busy with other things with my primary employment, and just haven't had the time. So I need to start adding these second-tier links that you're talking about. And
I was actually meaning when you're getting people out to the content, what sort of conversion things are you putting in there so that you're getting them on to see this content that you're putting out by the press release. What do you have in there for them to take an action? What's your calls to action that you're typically using in that?
I have banner advertisements in the sidebar, and I have one in the middle of the press release above the Hangout. Just an image that, if clicked on, will take them to your Commando HQ or Social Traffic Commando, depending on what it is we're talking about tonight. I also have a link to Commando Tube Tools down at the bottom. And a link to the Hangout when it's picked up by other news sites, which the one last week was picked up by another 200 sites around the world, press release sites. Then our link will be in there for the Hangout. So I imagine that's why we're getting so many views for the Hangouts.
It's a very, very interesting example of how you can drive traffic with. You know, there is an effort to put together a press release. There is an effort to conduct a Hangout, for example, but it can be done with a Hangout. It can be done with just, you know, good content on a blog post with sort of a video giving an overview for what you've written in text, or vice versa. Where you're just doing bullet points for what's on the actual video itself. And the good thing about the press release service that you use is that you're able to do multimedia. That means you can put in images and you can put in video. And these Hangouts, I believe, are actually showing live inside Newswire press release.
As we speak.
Yeah, absolutely. It's incredible. It's incredible. And what are the costs for doing that with Newswire?
I pay $300 a month. And their current offer is 12 press releases for $300 a month.
That's not too bad, actually. It's really, really actually reasonable. If you look at the amount of traffic it's sending, you know, a lot of people listening to this might think to themselves, well, you know, $300 is a big investment. If you multiply, or if you add up everything that you spent on SEO over a month, you've got to ask yourself the question: does it generate the same traffic is what you've just described there, you know, and what sort of effort is involved in it. And, you know, if you learn how to convert that traffic, then that is, as a strategy in itself, is probably enough that you can make a very, very decent income if you're just, you know, testing, tweaking consistently to be able to get those call to actions correct so that you can get the maximum from that traffic. Now, I would be very, very tempted to send them, Robert, to a sort of blog page that you create where you can capture leads from there. That's what I would definitely recommend. I would send them to a page that you control outside of the press release, and from there, then you can send them to other places as well. So you might have a download of the PowerPoint that we have for this week's. And every week that we do, so there's always a PowerPoint. Maybe send them to get a download of the PowerPoint on a blog page that you control.
That's a wonderful idea. I value that in the Facebook group with
yeah,
a new site
and
I'm
you
not
can
familiar with. Right.
yeah, and you can maximize the traffic that basically essentially you're paying for there, because it's such a good way to convert that traffic, because it gives them something useful that is relevant to the content that you're doing, which in this instance is the PowerPoint, because it has all those kind of things. So it's there as a reference guide for people. It costs you nothing because it's already there. It's just a PowerPoint, but it's very, very useful. Sort of study aid for people who want to go back through this. So for $300 a month, I think that is pretty good. Do they have a lower level of membership, or is that the lowest?
There is a lower level where you could get 4 press releases a month for $150.
Okay, so they're losing about 1/3 of. They're losing about 50%, I guess. So you should really get 6 if you divide it by half, as far as you're getting 12 for 300. But you know, it's a good way for people maybe just to test and start, and then they can upgrade at any time. Is that correct?
They can upgrade at any time, and some people, they make quite an income just from doing press releases. I know one lady with Newswire who charges $1,000 a press release. She writes the press release and ranks it for her clients, and she's making a living from that.
Yeah, well, what particularly interests me with the strategies that we've just discussed is the ability to do to drive traffic from these first-tier links, and that includes press release. So if we combine something like the press release with even just guest posting, which essentially you could take your press release and you could just build it into an article instead of a sort of writing in the third-party kind of thing like you do with press releases, then essentially the same piece of content getting tweaked can drive thousands and thousands of visitors to your content. I think that's just phenomenal, because the amount of leads that you can capture at that point when you got that much traffic from just 2 pieces of content is just unbelievable. You know, I think that more people should be doing this, and I really want to dig into it more myself for both those particular strategies, for both of those particular ways of doing the first tier backlinks. Okay. Do you have an affiliate link for Newswire? Do they allow for affiliates to do that?
No, they haven't. They don't have any affiliates right at this moment. Michael Taggart is the only affiliate I know about.
Oh yeah, Michael did some course, and he's got a Facebook group, I believe. It's all about press releases. If I were you, I would definitely ask them if that's something they would consider to do, because I think it's something that we could share to you know, to the people on my list and to the Facebook group, and I would happily do that for you, because I think it's just such an important strategy when you're talking about the traffic volume that you just mentioned there, because there is potentially, you know, thousands of people interested in the content you're doing. And what's the highest you ever had from press releases as far as eyes on the content?
The best I ever had was last week's hangout that we did, and that I had embedded on the press release on YouTube playlist and silo strategies.
Oh, okay, so they're like specific things, which is kind of important. But this week's is a little bit more sort of broad and general, and from next week forward, we'll be digging into more specific. So that's interesting to know about as well. So that's what I'm always looking for. That's what people should always look for: is what's working, what's driving the traffic. And if you look at maybe in your YouTube channel, if you're doing a lot of videos, well, for example, I'll give an example of one of my channels that I was looking the other day, and we were working on a new way to use the advanced video viewer from Commando HQ. Some people were saying that the views were not increasing, while others were saying it was working really, really well. And we were trying to find out why. Excuse me. And we were thinking how we could improve and how we could make the views just work for everybody. And so what we actually built into the software was that it would start using different browsers to be able to go and view. So it would clean the cache after watching the first video on maybe on Chrome, and then it would start watching the video on Firefox, and then it would start watching on Internet Explorer, then Safari or Opera or something like that. And that way we could increase the views and stuff. And I'm trying to remember the point that brought me to talk about the advanced viewer, and it's kind of slipped my mind already. And what was I going to say? when that happens. Oh man. Okay. Anyway, so we were talking about the value of using press releases so we can get traffic. Damn, it's gone. It'll probably come back in a few minutes. What triggered that? What triggered that? That's just so annoying when you do that. Anyway, so yeah, if you can get views onto that kind of content, it's such a good way to be able to convert that traffic. That is so annoying when I do that. I should write this kind of stuff down before I start talking about it. Oh god. Anyway, let's just carry on because I need to. It'll probably come back in my head in a second. Anyway, so let's move on from there. But I think that we should do 1 week talking about just press releases in one of these hangouts. And if you can get maybe Newswire to give you some kind of remuneration for driving sales for them, which I think if you told them the amount of traffic that you could possibly get from it, basically from doing this kind of stuff, that it would benefit you. And you can maximize that, because I think it's such an important strategy that too many people overlook it.
I will contact them about that right after the hangout this evening.
Yeah, I really think that you should, and you can get some. You could even just set up some kind of training for it as well, offer that as a bonus, which would be perfect for it as well, because if you offer them, just a video of you putting together a press release and the format that it's in, that kind of stuff, that's where people probably get stuck and where they probably don't use press releases because they don't know how to write them properly or whatever. And, maybe we can get a little tool made up that can create different sort of formats for different types of press releases. So it might be something for a product launch, it might be for something for a review type of press release or whatever it might be. Maybe we can just work on something like that, and I can get my coders to knock something together that will help them to easily format press releases and write them very, very quickly. That would be pretty cool, wouldn't it?
That would be very cool.
Yeah. Yeah, and I could save them a whole bunch of time. And the thing is, they don't need then to use these syndications for the press releases, because if they use something like Newswire, it does it automatically for them, doesn't it? As far as I understand.
Right.
Very, very good. Okay, let's go on to the next slide. Okay. Still in the back of my mind. What was I talking about? Advanced view. Okay, let me just move this thing up. Right. So, first tier backlinks. I've already gone through these examples I've just discussed here. So you can see this isn't research stuff, guys. This is all from the top of my head. Otherwise, I wouldn't have been able to run through all that kind of stuff. You see a lot of people, content creators, come up with stuff that they basically just researched, and it's the content can therefore be weak because they don't have any first-hand experience of it apart from the research. So let's go into the second tier backlinks now. Some examples of that. Web 2.0 again. So you can have you can have clusters of Web 2.0 sites that are linking to other types of content. So, for example, if I did video sharing site kind of distribution first here, then I could have those videos onto Web 2.0 sites in different pieces of content around it. Okay, so you're talking about articles. And with this one, you can actually do like spun content, but you want to make sure it's high quality. You're still looking for high quality links. You're not giving spammy, useless, crappy content. You want it to be useful information, and that way you could actually build in a very, very effective second tier backlink, because that second tier will be great content if it's taking the videos from the first tier links. If you were using the sharing sites, for example, and you had video plus image, plus you had some article around the content of that video. And you can do it very easily just with bullet points. And that would give you some really, really good second tier backlinks as far as the quality of content. That would be very, very easy to do. So you're minimizing the amount of work that you have to do. And I like that. What we're looking for is automation as much as possible, so that we can move through these steps very, very quickly, and we don't have to spend a huge amount of time. And when we don't have to spend a huge amount of time on the backlinking and other strategies for ranking, then what we can do is spend more time on the quality of the content. And the more time you spend on the quality of content, the more likely you'll be able to get conversions. I keep saying the same things again and again, and I'll keep bringing this up again and again because this drives me crazy. And that is that we do search engine optimization to get rankings, and we want to get rankings so that we can drive traffic. Okay, too many SEO guys are still not getting it. I'm still seeing stuff popping up on YouTube that is basically useless content, just text-to-speech videos and stuff like that. On last Sunday's webinar, I was being sort of probed about why I don't release the text-to-speech video creator that we created. And I actually created that video tool for because of the demand from other people, from customers. But I really hate that kind of strategy. I don't like using things like that. I just think it's crappy content. And it did come up, well, why don't you use it just for second-tier backlinks? And again, the answer is the same. It's because it's crappy content. It's useless information. It's in a horrible format. It's hard to make them look good, and I don't like using them. So what you can do with automation is it gives you more time to make sure that your content is really, really good. And what you're trying to do then is get the traffic, and when you get the traffic, you have to maximize it by capturing leads. Okay, that's the most effective way to be able to get the most out of any kind of online marketing, by capturing leads. And that means any new content you produce, you can get that to more eyes automatically just by sending an email, just from having subscribers on YouTube, and you can have further calls to action within there for new people coming in, and you keep building that email list, or you keep building ways that you can connect to these people instantly and very, very simply, and that gets more traffic again onto your content. And that's why we're doing search engine optimization. You know, if there's anybody here who's doing SEO and you're still using crappy content and wondering why you're not making money, and you might be ranking on page 1, and you might even have bragging rights for some major keywords, but are you making money? That's the whole point of us doing that. So you really have to start thinking more like marketing. Have those call to actions, make good content, automate as much as you can, and by doing that, hopefully you are going to make money, and you can start building it up and multiplying it once you get the system correct. And it's not that hard to do. It's really, really simple to do, as long as you're doing it with quality content. Okay, we really, really need to do a content webinar. I think that has to come. Maybe I might even break up the backlinks webinars and hangouts to get that, and then do another one for keyword research as well, because I think we actually missed the step there with getting into the backlinks so soon in the actual YouTube SEO in 2014 series. I think I might have to take a back step and do a content webinar first, and the keyword research as well. And niche selection would be a separate webinar yet again. So there's three different webinars we could do there. And then come back into the backlinks, because they're very, very important as far as, you know, for people to actually realize how you actually can make money, instead of thinking that, you know, just get onto page 1 with a crappy video or something, it's going to be good enough. It's not. It just won't work. Anyway, so Web 2.0 is a good way to do it. That's how I would suggest you do it. Take those videos from the first tier. Wiki links in this situation would be very, very good. And they're very easy to do. You can go over to imtop.org. You have to go in on Firefox to use their tools, and they don't show on Chrome for some reason. But they have something called Extreme Wikis, and that's almost like just writing an article that is fun. But you want to do high quality spin, so that means a bit of manual stuff, guys. You can use things like the Best Spinner, and you can use things like Spin Rewriter, but read through it and try and make sure you don't have something that's just making no grammatical sense whatsoever, and that way you're going to have better content. It might take an extra 3 or 4 minutes, but hey, you're going to go and get, you know, quite a lot of backlinks from it. And if you're using tools like WikiRobot as well, excuse me, WikiRobot, it's a tool by, I think it was Josh Zamora who did that one. It's very, very good, because you can actually spin the URL. So you can take your first tier links and put the URLs for them in there, and you can spin them. So every piece of content that gets produced from WikiRobot getting posted on one of those wiki sites can therefore be sent out to all these different places with a different link, and going to each one of your first tier. Okay. Now, I did mention in last week's webinar the best way of using WikiRobot. I suggest people go and watch that particular webinar. We'll give them the link to that, okay? And I will do another video on how to use WikiRobot as well. I'll try and get that one done today, okay? The other way to get quality backlinks is commenting. It's a good way. You can actually do this for first tier, but you're going to notice that, as we showed in the social shares last week, commenting becomes less and less relevant we were looking at somebody, I think it was Jeff Bullis, or was it Real SEO? One of them had quite a lot of social shares, but only 3 comments underneath the actual blog post that is on the website. And so you can see the commenting isn't such a major factor anymore in ranking, but it still builds relevancy. So the best way to use that is to build relevancy to your first tier. And you can use tools to help you to automate that as well. So there's tools like Scrapebox can help you. There must be some others that might be simpler to use, because Scrapebox can be a little bit daunting if you haven't used it consistently for a while, or if you look at it for the first time. Although it's a very, very good tool for doing that, but you're still looking for relevancy, and you're still looking for high quality opportunities, and you don't need many of them. You don't need 5,000, for example. You just want to get relevancy and build it from high quality sources where you can comment on guest posts, for example, and put links going back to your Web 2.0 or your sharing site or whatever your first tier is. Or you can even do it as a second tier, a first tier links strategy as well. Okay. Images, again, well, you can use things like infographics. You can share them through infographic sites. There is a tool, Faraz did one. I can't remember the name. I still didn't manage to look into that. It will take an infographic and submit it automatically to a ton of these infographic sharing sites, like you have video sharing sites and image sharing sites. You can do the same with infographics. And infographic is essentially an image, so you can do 2 things with it. You can use it as an image on places like Pinterest and Flickr, or you can even turn it into a PDF and send it to doc sharing sites. Okay, that's an easy way to do it. Very, very easy. Doc sharing I've got here is a sort of second tier. It's actually could be used as a first tier as well. And what I don't like to do with the first tier, though, is make too many of them, because the more you do, then the harder work you're creating for the second tier, because you need to backlink that first tier. So unless you're willing just to do some stuff that you're not particularly worried about ranking, you're not worried about backlinking it, then you could use that for a first tier as well. But some of those sites like Scribd, for example, SlideShare, they do get a lot of traffic themselves. So if you've got good quality content, there's always a chance that you can start to get recognized and noticed in there. And we've got a tool coming out that will help with that called Dog Traffic Commando as well. But I'm not 100% happy with it yet, and we need to go back and do some more work on that one. Okay, RSS directory. So again, what we're doing is we can mash up all the URLs from the second tier. There's a tool over and Commando Tube tools that can do that. Just put in all your RSS feeds from the Web 2.0 sites, mash them up, and post to 27 RSS directories. It's getting you links. When you're doing RSS stuff, you will find there's 2 types of tools available. Yeah, there's one that does directory links, and there's the other one that does pinging. Okay, 2 completely different things. One is getting you links, the other one is just notifying all the search engines, which is not a bad thing to do, but you've got to understand there's a distinguished difference between the 2, because you might think you've got yourself links when all you've done is some pinging. So you should really use both. Okay, articles. In this situation, we could use things like the article directories, like eZine, for example, and do some content on there. Now, they can be picky if it's grammatically incorrect, which they get every right to. So you've got to make sure that you do spend a bit of time making it grammatically correct, making it readable, and making it useful content. Otherwise, they're going to reject it. Again, bookmarks. So it's very easy to get bookmarks. You can get all your Web 2.0 links and put them through tools. I'm not sure what tools people are using for bookmarks these days. There was it Bookmarking Demon or something it was called? I think it's still around. But what you'll find with those tools is they're using, not the highest quality bookmark type sites. So I would definitely keep that for the second tier, not for the first tier. And then there is the doc sharing, as I described before. Okay, so that's just an overview of what we can do, and I don't really want to go and finish the rest of the slides because we've done quite a lot of time. But if somebody wants to see the full webinar we did for that, you can head over to the fan page, and Robert, if you can put that link underneath this video once it's on YouTube, then perhaps people can go over to fan page and access all of these hangouts as well as the webinar recordings from Sunday night webinars. So is there any questions at the moment?
I will add this to the fan page and to the description, and I'll start putting it in the news releases too.
Yeah.
Okay, let's see if we can get some questions. I'm not sure this is going to work because when we got dropped a while ago, we have to start the question session before generally we start a Hangout. So I'm waiting for it to see if it.
Yeah.
Oh, it won't work. It says I have to do it before the Hangout begins.
Okay.
So,
I don't know why it dropped us. It's just one of the issues that we've got using things like Hangouts. Is pretty new technology as far as doing these kind of things. But it's a very useful tool to be able to have, and I'm sure that we're just going to keep improving it over time. And I look forward to when we can do proper screen sharing without it being complicated. So that a lot of people are still using GoToWebinar because of the two reasons. Well, these Hangouts can drop at any time, and it happens to all of us. And secondly, the screen sharing isn't always the best quality as well. So people are using the GoToWebinar as well. Okay, well, I think we can probably just end it there if there's not any questions. And that way we can maybe hopefully drive some more people to the fan page, because I was quite disappointed when I looked at the stats on the fan page last week. I mean, some of the webinars and Hangouts were getting traffic, they were getting views, but it wasn't in coordination with the amount of likes that we had on the fan page. So I stopped putting the webinars on different properties like Commando Chip Tools and like the Facebook group and the Facebook group directly. I just wanted people to go onto that fan page and be able to access the content from there, because I just feel it's it merits to be able to get some social sharing going on, so people can get some good quality content. And because some of the stuff that we're sharing here, once we get into, after we cover the basics and we get into actual strategies as well, it's a very, very good solid foundation for people to build upon. And once they start to do their own optimization strategies, once they start using this, they will start to develop their own tweaks as well. And it's a lot of good, important information, and they're paying a lot of money for less information often. When you see some of the stuff on these launches, when you see some of these WSOs and that type of product, half the time it's just, you're paying for a piece of crap. That I would have thought that most people would know as just basic stuff, and that it doesn't even give you a lot of times the sort of correct information. So this kind of content should really, I think it deserves to be shared. It's free, and it's got some good information. And sometimes I think that free can be misconstrued as not valuable, and I think it's quite the opposite with these. So I really want to try and get the word out more and more about it, so that we can get more people coming in and getting some proper foundation for building SEO campaigns.
This is extremely valuable. There are a lot of people that charge a lot of money just creating products about the information you've provided for free tonight.
Yeah,
and it's available.
Yeah, that's always going to happen, because people ask me why I do this for free, because they may have an information business, I have a software business, so that leaves me free. I had the choice, a couple of years back when I started, or a year ago really, when I started to do software products, to use the information as a paid way to get people into seeing my softwares. I decided no, because this actually gives me an advantage. It gives me a major advantage over other product creators who have information type products. Somebody might come up with a course and they sell it, and nothing wrong with that. They're perfectly entitled to do that. But because I have a software business, it means I can share the strategies that my software automates. So that's the sort of route that I decided to go. This is the way I want to do it, and that means I can give out really high quality content, and I set the bar higher for them to produce better quality paid content, because if they can't match my free content and more people get to know about it, then it just keeps making me look better in the eyes of a lot of people, and at the same time it gets more traffic and more eyes onto my paid offers, which is essentially the software products. And I saw an email this morning from a lady called Kim Roach, she has a product creation boot camp that she is doing, and she was saying that this month she had generated over $18,500 or something like that, and it sort of it gave me the inclination to go and check my own stats for this month. Now, in product creation, just for myself, for my own products alone, we have done over $18,200 just for my own products. For affiliate stuff, I've done another $4,000 in this month in January, and I have not been emailing any promotions very, very much. What people will realize that once they're on my email list is that I don't email every day. I only email if I see something that is worth emailing. There was a couple of big launches this week. One I refused to promote because there's a better product out there. And I see other people promoting it and using so much hype. Mm-hmm. And they have actually done promotions for another product that is far superior in every single way than one of those products that they promoted. And they're using terminology. This is internet marketing history. This tool. Oh, I've got a message for you. They're full of shit. They are full of shit, and they know they're full of shit, and they have been promoting something previously that didn't maybe get such high conversions because it had less affiliates, but it was a much, much better tool, and they are aware of that. So they're basically telling you to spend your money on something less quality so that they can make money, but at the same time they're making themselves appear to be your best friend. Okay, so just be wary of these people who are sending you these promotions, who are sending you these things for the bonus offers. You know, they're talking to you like you're a monkey. For sometimes, you know, they're just saying, "Oh, you get this for free, you get that for free, you get this for free." Look at what they're actually offering for free. See if there's any value in it. Is it actually going to help your business? Are they overloading you with bonuses just so that they can get you to spend money, so that they make more money from the email list? Now, I don't do any of that. I don't do any of that. I haven't emailed probably for more than 1 week any promotions, and there was one or two that I did look at, but I pulled away from. I just pulled away from. If I send an email out promoting something, it has to be good. It has to be something I would get value from, and therefore it's good for my business and yours. So if people get onto my email list, then they can be assured that they're not going to get that kind of behavior. Okay. If you take into consideration those figures I just gave you for earnings for January, you know, even then I could have doubled that very, very easily if I really wanted to, but I held back. And the reason I held back is because I don't want to overload people and confuse people as well. So I'm not actually just doing this just for revenue, although I'm running a business and I have costs involved in the business, but I'm thinking about when is the right time to release this new tool. Is it in its proper format? Yeah. Am I just releasing it for the purpose of making money? Or am I able to hold back a little bit? And the way I look at it is, okay, we've made good money this month. That's invested into another 3 or 4 new tools. Plus, we've got the email promotions. I haven't done that many this month. So, you know, I'm in a good situation where I don't need to go and promote crap, and I don't need to keep launching stuff. And all of that is done with that product launch. We haven't done a proper product launch for about I would say about 6 or 7 months, but we have got one coming up in February, and those product launches can be, you know, anything between 50 to 100 grand on the product launch. So those figures are very, very good, and we do want to do a product creation hangout as well at some point, and that has to be pretty soon. And I'm going to use those stats, and I'm actually going to share them very, very openly what people can do with product creation, because I feel that there's a lot of people with a lot of good information and who get good results. You would be an example of that, Robert, because you could do one about press releases and really hit home the point of, you know, how to maximize the traffic that you're getting and how easy it is to generate that. You could easily create a product from it and do very, very well with it, okay? And then you can build your own audience about that particular strategy and just build on it and give them some great information. That way you're giving value, and at the same time you're improving your revenue streams as well from online marketing, because that is online marketing as well. Okay, so I think I'm done. I keep talking about other stuff, so
thank you, Tony.
I think I'm really done here. Yeah.
We all appreciate you.
Okay, thank you very much, and we'll be here again next Friday night, 9 p.m.
Friday
Eastern.
night, 9 p.m. Eastern time. That's correct.
And next week's subject, we'll be talking about. I'll go into one aspect of backlinking in a little bit more detail next week, and then I think after that we're going to take a break from backlinking. We will have 2 more backlinking webinars to do. But I want to take a step back and do something for keyword research, for choosing niches, and for doing creating compelling content that converts. We really got to take a step back and do that before we finish off the backlinking. Okay?
Okay, well, thank you, Tony. Good night. We'll see you next week.
Okay, thank you. Bye-bye.
Right. Good night, everybody.